you'd think, well, in a town known for its conservative values, that the story of an immigrant family, a family facing a tragedy, it would unfold, well, predictably.
Yeah.
But what happened in Erwin, Tennessee, it really challenges those assumptions.
Right.
We're diving into the story of Bertha Mendoza.
Okay.
She was a beloved baker in the town and tragically lost her life during Hurricane Helene.
Wow.
But it's more than just a story of loss. It's about this incredible response of a community that on the surface, might seem at odds with its actions.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here is how this one story, right, seemingly isolated in this small town, it kind of shines a light on a much bigger picture, of immigration, community, and that often stark contrast between political rhetoric and lived experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. We often hear about, the divisions in our country, especially in places like Erwin, it sits in a predominantly white pro-Trump county.
Right.
But then you hear about Manuel Cordero,
Okay.
and he's an Erwin resident, and he also immigrated to the U.S.
Uh-huh.
And you hear about how he stepped up for Bertha's family.
Yeah, Cordero's story it's incredibly powerful. Imagine being immigrant yourself, right?
Yeah.
Working hard, building a life here.
Yeah.
And then you hear about another immigrant family just facing such a devastating loss. Like his immediate $1,000 donation to the funeral fund. I mean, it speaks volumes, not just about his generosity,
Yeah.
but also about this shared understanding of the struggles that so many immigrants they face,
And he wasn't the only one. There was a parent of one of Bertha's young co-workers. They also donated $1,000, as did a close friend of her daughter.
Oh, wow.
And these weren't just like casual acquaintances. These were members of a community, and they came together to support one of their own.
Right.
Regardless of background, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like what drives this kind of unity, this empathy in a place that is often associated with very different values.
Mm-hmm. It forces us to look beyond, the stereotypes, the political labels.
Yeah.
This is about a shared human experience. It's a recognition of our common vulnerability in the face of tragedy.
Yeah.
And it's made even more poignant, I think, when we actually consider like Bertha's story, right? The life that she built, the impact she had on this community.
Exactly. Everyone knew Bertha for her amazing cakes.
Hey.
Always ready to whip something up, for a birthday, a graduation, you name it, any occasion.
Mm.
Imagine the joy that she brought to this town through her baking.
Yeah.
And then just imagine the collective grief when she was suddenly gone.
And let's not forget, I mean, baking, it was more than just a hobby for her.
Right.
She worked at Impact Plastics.
Right.
It was a local factory, and she worked there to support her family.
Yeah.
This detail, it's often overlooked, in the news reports and all that.
Yeah.
But it reveals a really crucial aspect of many immigrant stories. This reality of hard work, right?
Yeah.
Often in really demanding jobs, just to build a better future.
It makes you realize that behind every tragedy like this, there's a whole world of experiences, right?
Right.
Of dreams, of everyday struggles that often go unseen.
Right. Right.
And it's in those quiet moments, those everyday interactions, that the true character of a community it shines through.
Yeah, I agree. It's easy, to get caught up in all the political debates
Yeah.
surrounding immigration and everything.
Right.
But then, a story like Bertha's, it emerges.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds us of the human beings, at the
Yeah.
heart of all these issues.
Yeah.
These aren't just statistics, these are people with families, with dreams,
Right.
and a deep connection to their communities.
And in Bertha's case, I mean, that connection, it was solidified even more through her baking. Think about it. The Christmas tamales she made for her friend's family, the countless birthday cakes.
Oh, wow.
The way that she marked life's milestones, with something sweet,
Right.
something homemade. It speaks to this universal language, I think,
Yep.
of food and celebration.
Yeah.
A way of bridging cultural divides that that we often overlook, you know?
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even in the most unexpected places, right?
Yeah.
We find these threads of commonality,
Right.
these shared experiences that just they bind us together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's in the face of tragedy like Hurricane Helene
Yeah.
that those bonds they become even more evident, you know?
It's almost unfathomable
Right.
to imagine what Bertha and her coworkers went through
Right, yeah.
as the floodwaters rose at Impact Plastic.
Oh my gosh.
The articles describe how quickly the Nolichucky River it overflowed
Wow.
and trapped them inside the factory.
God.
It's a stark reminder of the destructive power of nature and how these events can just so suddenly disrupt lives.
It's a truly harrowing situation.
Yeah.
The articles mention, this group of workers, including Bertha, and they were seeking refuge on a flatbed truck
Oh, wow.
in the parking lot as the water rose rapidly.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That sense of desperation, right? Just clinging to hope in the face of such a powerful force.
And then there's this incredibly poignant detail about Bertha
Yeah.
managing to call her husband
Oh, wow.
in those final moments.
Oh, gosh.
And she told him she loved him.
Oh, my.
And she asked him to tell their children the same.
Oh.
It just gets to you, the thought of her thinking of her family and in those terrifying circumstances.
That one phone call, it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About the human cost of this tragedy. It reminds us that behind the headlines, right? Behind all the statistics, there are real people with loved ones, and their grief it reverberates through a community.
Right. It's hard to grasp,
Yeah.
the sheer terror of those moments.
Yeah.
Knowing that your life is in danger and thinking about your loved ones.
Yeah.
It really underscores the depth of Bertha's love for her family.
And amidst that tragedy, right?
Yeah.
The outpouring of support from the Erwin community.
Right.
It's even more remarkable when you think about it.
Yeah.
Remember this is a town firmly rooted, right, in conservative values,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a place where, based on political leanings alone,
Yeah.
you might not expect,
Right.
such a compassionate response
Yeah.
to an immigrant family's plight.
It's like the community instinctively
Yeah.
set aside any political divides,
Right.
any preconceived notions,
Totally.
and responded with pure human empathy.
Exactly. And when we consider Cordero's words, he said, we start from the bottom, labor.
Right.
It deepens our understanding, I think, of his gesture.
Yeah.
It speaks to that shared experience among so many immigrants, this sense of solidarity, right,
Yeah.
forged through hard work and perseverance.
It makes you realize that these shared human experiences,
Right.
they can transcend political boundaries.
Absolutely.
When tragedy strikes,
Yeah.
the impulse to help, to offer comfort,
Yeah.
it can outweigh any ideological differences.
It's a powerful reminder that beneath the surface, right,
Yeah.
of all the political rhetoric,
Yeah.
there's a shared humanity
Yeah.
that binds us.
Right.
And sometimes it takes a tragedy like this, to
Yeah.
really reveal the true heart of a community.
Bertha's story, though it's rooted in sorrow,
Yeah.
it ultimately blossoms, I think, into this testament to the power of human connection.
Right.
It encourages us to look beyond the surface, beyond the political labels,
Right.
and recognize our shared vulnerability
Yeah.
and resilience.
It begs the question, though.
Yeah.
How can we carry this spirit of unity and compassion, beyond these moments of crisis?
Yeah.
How can we bridge the divides that seem so prevalent, right,
Yeah.
in our society today, and tap into that shared humanity more consistently?
Right.
That's something I hope you'll continue to ponder.
Yeah, it's a poignant reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit,
Right.
much like a community that's united in grief and and support. You know,
Yeah.
it has this incredible capacity
Yeah.
to rise above and offer these glimmers of hope. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's the most important lesson we can glean from Bertha's story.
I think so too.